And so while the purpose of the marriage architecture is predominantly to protect the children, I actually believe it's a multifunctional structure, with one of those functions being with the intention of producing that stable operating environment so that both people can die to themselves, be brought to maturity, and then walk in function in agreement instead of in hierarchy. Interestingly, the egalitarians actually have it partially right. The relationship is intended to function on agreement, both parties coming into agreement with each other and then moving ahead or moving forward in agreement with one another. That is the intended result of the relationship. But you don't get to start there. You have to start with honoring the operating agreement and allowing the relationship to grow into agreement. Now, there's a whole other angle to this where marriage is also a way that God demonstrates the concept of Christ in the church, and that's a whole other teaching that we can get into. But the most important thing we need to understand is that this design that God has created for marriage is not just about the two individuals that are in the marriage. And that, I think, is the biggest issue. That's where all of these isms are emerging from, because everybody's trying to figure out how to come up with like an operating agreement that makes everybody feel good about themselves, makes everybody comfortable between the two people. And what they don't understand is that their feelings about everything is like relatively low on the list. The responsibility of entering into a marriage is the production of godly offspring for the Lord. That's a huge responsibility. And God isn't going to leave it to us to come up with our own kind of operating agreement that we're comfortable with in order to produce the offspring that He wants. Because the production of children is not for us. We are stewards. Father and mother are temporary roles. We will not be father and mother in heaven. These are temporary constructs, temporary roles. These roles of father and mother are to raise up children to know their true Father who's in heaven. And so we don't get to just make up whatever operating agreement we want, because the operating agreement is the thing that actually creates the culture of how the organization functions. And if the purpose of the organization is to produce offspring unto the Lord, then the Lord is going to be very specific about how He wants His organization to operate to ensure that the offspring that's being produced for Him is being brought up in the order that He wants them to be brought up in. And so while we as the individuals in the relationship get to experience a tremendous benefit of going through the process of learning how to die to ourselves and be raised up again into a relationship of agreement, which is a profound experience as you start to experience it. I've been married for almost 20 years, and my wife and I in the last couple of years have been entering into this sort of agreement period of our relationship. And it's unlike anything, it's indescribable. Like, that experience is amazing, but that's not the primary purpose. It is a wonderful purpose, and it is a wonderful benefit that we get as being married people, but it's not the primary intention. So, in summary, marriage is a hierarchy, but it's not intended to stay that way functionally. The goal is to go all the way through the process, beginning with submission, not submitting to one another, submitting to the Lord, holding our offices, recognizing the functions and empowerments that have been given by God to each office, and then through that process, relying on the Holy Spirit to transform us both individually and relationally, so that we get to enter into a place where we function in agreement instead of in hierarchy. Shh.